late show for our California cousins. My God, you know, I've been up for 3 days, worried sick. Nobody's found Granny. They have arrested a Range Rover and brought it in for questioning. So hopefully that turns up some answers. I mean, I haven't eaten, I haven't slept. Everybody's looking for Granny. And no one can find her. I mean, the Range Rover doesn't know where she is. It's unbelievable. You know, this was late news. I was going to do a follow-up stream last night when the Range Rover got arrested. But something came up, and then it's just been like one big, long panic attack while we wait to find out what happened to Granny. Yeah, we're hopefully going to find out a bit more about that right now, okay? Somewhere.
I want to thank everyone for this invitation to this distinguished panel. I'm very happy to be here. So for my one PowerPoint slide, I wanted to broaden out a little bit and talk about the upstream.
Talk about Granny, Jeff. That's the wrong video, obviously.
Is Bobby McDonald, former Secret Service. Thank you so much for joining us, as always, on Live Now from Fox. Bobby, we do appreciate it.
Good morning. Always great to be back with you.
A lot to discuss here, obviously. Let's start with this. Why have we not had a press conference? Pima County putting out on social media. We'll have an update for you when we feel it's appropriate to have an update.
Maybe we should have a press conference to discuss why there hasn't been a press conference. And also, where's Granny?
But at this point, this feels like a big development. So why are we not getting a press conference?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I'm not sure that I have a good answer for you. I think that the Pima County out there has decided to kind of shut down their communications to the public with respect to the fact that their early on communications efforts really didn't go very well. And now you've got that combination of the FBI little rift, if you will, that's out there. It's a little bit troubling. Look, I'm all about keeping...
Isn't this crazy? The thing about the rift... The thing about the rift between the Pima County, was it Pina Colada? The Pina Colada County. The thing about the Pina Colada County Sheriff's Department and the FBI and this rift, right? I mean, have you ever heard anything like that before? Seriously. Even once. I mean, maybe. In The Departed. Yeah. Federal came in and they shit on state.
Being information close to the vest when we're in the middle of an investigation. But we're 2 weeks into this now, and we're dealing with an individual who is related to a very notoriety person in our society. So I'm a little bit concerned that we're not getting anything, but I am happy to see that a search warrant was effected last night, and hopefully that's going to be moving us in the right direction.
Yeah, and Bobby, before I continue with my questions here, I did want to put this up on the screen, as we do like to have our viewers write in and ask these questions. So if you have a question about this case, please scan that QR code in the top right-hand corner.
Yeah, and if you have a question, let us know in chat, and we have all the answers, apart from the location of Granny.
Of your screen. We're going to be answering these questions live here throughout this interview with Bobby McDonald. So once again, open up the camera app on your smartphone, tap
Bobby McDonald. That's not someone's real name, surely. That's like a fake name that you put down when you don't want to say your real name, right? What's your name? Bobby McDonald. No one's called that. Show me your driver's license right now.
Scan that QR code, or you can head to livenowfox.com/connect. Please weigh in. We'd love to hear from you. All right, Bobby, let's continue, though. So I just want to get into the technicalities of what some of these terms that we're hearing from law enforcement are. When authorities say 3 people were detained during the execution of a warrant, what does that typically mean in terms of this investigation?
So when that...
They're subjects, not suspects, and they will be released in an hour.
warrant is obtained, that we have to go through a magistrate or a judge that has to sign off on that warrant. Police have to indicate that they're looking for something specific within that house that would be related to the case that they're investigating. So when that warrant is effected at the house, those individuals are identified and are asked.
Well, what are they going to be looking for? I mean, it'd be pretty easy, right? It's a missing person case. You fill out the form to get the search warrant, and it says, "What are you looking for in the house?" And you say, "Granny." Obviously, she's the one missing. Is Granny in the house?
To hop over.
But I guess you've got to show like probable cause as to why Granny would be hiding in the house.
There into the dining room and sit down, and we'll get back to you when we find either what we're looking for or when we're finished going through your home looking for the items that we're looking for. So they are not arrested at that point, but they are being detained at that moment at that location for the actions that are going to be taken by the police department and the FBI in this case.
And as I shared here, I feel like we have slowly been getting more information after waiting for quite some time to.
The actions that are going to be. The FBI and the local law enforcement, they're just taking the opportunity to go and get everybody's phone. They're like, "Oh, you have eyes and a mouth. It must be you. Give us your phone. We want to. We have a search warrant, and we want to download your entire life." Okay. Never let a crisis go to waste. Right? I mean, just hey, we got someone at large in the community. So let's go and get the phone of every, suspect criminal that we've been keeping an eye on. And let's try to do that without abusing their rights. Oops, we can't do that.
Get information to come out about this. I just had up on our screen here that surveillance video that was released earlier this week here to the public from law enforcement. My question to you, Bobby, why are there no timestamps on this surveillance video? Does that play a factor into this?
The timestamps with respect to Ring cameras or Nest cameras, these are for personal use. So their algorithms and technology, unless you're asking for it or you purchase that aspect of it, really don't have timestamps necessarily. They're more for.
I mean, has anyone looked into the idea that this guy at the doorbell might have just been going skiing and wanted to borrow some skis, or maybe those poles that you have on the side that you hold in your hand? It's Arizona, so where would you ski? Can you ski in Arizona? I really don't know. I don't think so. You'd have to go really high up, wouldn't you? But Colorado, all sorts of places to ski around there. Very nice. Very nice.
Security purposes. Obviously, this snippet is well known now to be involved in this case, and it would be great if we would have some timestamps. But a lot of the technology with the assets and tools that we use in our homes or around our businesses don't necessarily have that technology involved.
So the guy was like.
Really don't have timestamps necessarily. They're more for security purposes. Obviously, this snippet is well known now to be involved in.
Here's a question, right? And I get the angle from both sides, but some people say, well, he didn't look like he knew that there would be a camera there, which you would have to be a different kind of idiot to not know that there would be a camera on a house in Catalina foothills, right? I mean, it's a very nice area, rich, old rich camera. What was that? Mental acuity? Person, woman, man, camera, TV. That was brilliant. Yeah, so some people say, oh, he didn't look like he knew that a camera would be there. Well, A, fucking idiot. And B, whether he did or didn't. Whether he did know or didn't know. After he dismantled it, I'm sure he was in the idea that whatever footage was captured on that would never be seen again. So he didn't count for his swinging dick holster thing. What do we call it? A gun hammock around his waist to be seen. Because we saw that guy yesterday, right? He was straight away, he was like, this is a 1970 military issue, polymer grip, blah, blah, blah. And he identified it immediately.
This case, and it would be great if we would have some timestamps, but a lot of the technology with the assets and tools that we use in our homes or around our businesses don't necessarily have that technology involved.
Right. And I just wanted to quickly recap for our viewers who are just tuning in here as we do await some viewer questions come in. We saw this was released here, that backpack that police put out just the other day. But I also wanted to share this here. And this was this white tent that we saw go up just a few days ago outside of the entryway to Nancy Guthrie's home.
Yeah, a couple of days ago. Now, if you see the picture from today, there's a stack of pizza boxes outside. The sheriff's going for the buy one get one free deal that they have on Valentine's Day. By the way, happy Valentine's Day. Is everyone having a great Valentine's Day? Are you loving it? Are you loving that busy fucking restaurant that's packed, where the waiting staff don't really treat you like people, they treat you like cattle? Yeah, I'll skip that, thank you. But we hope you're enjoying it.
That tent was taken down a short time later. I mean, I think we're talking just maybe 2 or 3 hours at that point, because we were bringing this live to our viewers. What do you make of that? Why would a tent be going up outside of the entryway to the home where that footage was recorded and then taken down so quickly?
You know, I think when we look at this investigation, and we're 2 weeks into it now, we've got the home of Nancy Guthrie, we've got the home of the daughter and son-in-law. There just seems to have been a little bit of disjointedness in this investigation. And investigations don't always go according to script, or as we see on a 30 or 60-minute TV show, on Friday night. So they have been all over the place a little bit, and it does look a little disjointed. But obviously there was some nugget of information, some nugget of evidence there that they wanted to obtain, or they wanted to test, or something was found in that area, and they were able to effectively decide its relevance in a short period of time.
Yeah. Well, what was it? What was the relevance? Somebody, remember yesterday? Someone has seen something.
Now, something else I wanted to ask you here. We heard from Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos as he denied claims that his department had not been cooperating with federal authorities after reports law enforcement there had withheld key evidence from the FBI. But we did see this post here from the Pima County Sheriff's Department, as this was just put out a couple hours ago at this point. And you and I were chatting before.
Some cunt in fucking chat. Look at this. Who's this cunt? Where is it now? Oh, hang on. Got to put it on screen. Something about, I don't know, missing, boring, I don't know, what is it? Professor Hoodoo. Who are you gonna hoodoo now? Do you like Tony Joe White? Who are you gonna hoodoo now? That residence down Covington. Yeah, 100,000 missing children, and you are still talking about an 84-year-old mother of a media celebrity, and then 3 question marks. Of course we are. She's Granny to the world, and we need to know where she is. You know, I mean, have you been able to sleep, Professor Hoodoo? I haven't. I've been up for 2 weeks, weeping, crying.
this interview about this key line here that reads, because this is a joint investigation at the request of the FBI, no additional information is currently available. So what does that mean to you here? Does that mean that they are now working together? What's the significance of that post?
Well, as I said yesterday, we need to have.
No, the FBI is having a birthday party, and they sent an invitation to the Pima County Sheriff's Department, but the Pima County Sheriff's Department, they didn't RSVP, so now the FBI doesn't know if the Pima County Sheriff's Department is coming or not, or if they're going to bring a gift, or if they should send a plate. It's just so awkward.
A federal nexus for the FBI to be the lead agency here, and I'm not sure that we have that yet, but the Pima County folks could certainly defer to the FBI to become the lead. So that comment right there indicates to me that there is some little bit of a rift going on, or they have turned the corner and are starting to work together a little bit better. It's unfortunate that the optics of that are very poor, where we should be.
Has anybody heard of anything like this before, where most of the news is like, well, there might be a rift, between agencies. They've both got egos, so we have to respect that. And they're now beginning to work well together. It's like two children from, school children that are like, their parents are like, well, let's, maybe if we get them to do an activity that they share, would that maybe get your son on board? Your problem son? Would that get your problem son on board with our good son? No? Would it?
Focused on finding Nancy Guthrie and working together. There are a lot of officers and agents and technicians and doing a lot of hard work there, 12-hour shifts, a lot of meticulous work. The Pima County...
No, there was a lot of meticulous work, and there was also a lot of bio-nano quantum molecular evidence. And we got the video from residual data in back-end systems, because we're the FBI, and that's what we do.
Sheriff's Office also has to continue its daily protection of its county. So there's a whole lot going on out there, and we really need to get the focus and stop having us talk about the rift that may be going on with those agencies, and let's focus getting back to finding Nancy Guthrie.
Please.
Yeah, and for our...
Right, that is a real lawn. That is a real lawn. So there was a lawnmower man.
We're just tuning in here. We're just sharing this news that we're learning overnight. 3 people were detained. Bobby, my question for you, at what point does a detention potentially turn into an arrest? And if two...
Do you think the Guthries, paid cash for their lawnmower man? Or do you think they said, if you work for us, we can put you in touch with a lot of houses around here, but you'll have to do ours for free. But we will open doors because we're the Guthries. I don't think they paid any money for any of this, right? And that pool guy that showed up yesterday to clean the pool, he didn't even work for the Guthries. Smart guy, though. He just got in his van with the logo, drove to the Guthrie house, was on every newscast in the country with his phone number, website, name of his business, and didn't even work there. Genius. I want to go there myself with a Metrix on the side of a van.
2 males and one of their mothers were detained. What might that suggest, if anything, about investigators' focus going forward?
Yeah, I'm not sure the gender makes a whole lot of difference in this case, but what has to happen is we have to get probable cause to get that warrant to get into that house. That's a positive to me, that the investigation has led us to some information that has brought us to that probable cause level, and now we can get in the house and look for evidence and interview those people if they're willing to talk to us. Once we get some evidence that would lean us to a commission of a crime by those 3 people, those 4 people, or whoever else may be involved, then we can move to the arrest status. They're going to be looking for a number of things in there: phones, clothes. Is that backpack in there? Is that mask in there? What else is going on in that house? Do the neighbors know anything about those people? In other words, we've started another mini investigation, if you will, within the big investigation of Nancy Guthrie. And we've got to zero in on those nuggets of information so that we can keep this thing rolling. We're 2 weeks in right now. We've got to keep the focus on getting Nancy Guthrie and continuing to move this in a positive.
So there's a sub-investigation in the middle of the main investigation. There's a new investigation opened up, and they're going to be looking inside the house for the mask and backpack. Okay. Well, that'll be a good start. And Granny, please do check for Granny. What else? What else should they be checking? Rose bushes.
Direction so we can get resolution.
Right, and Bobby, we are getting these viewer questions in here, so I did want to start sharing some of them. This one is coming in from Michael. He's saying, does this still feel like an abduction case or some other alternate motive?
Great question. Wish I had a great answer. A lot going on here. And again, it's tough to say that after 2 weeks. Most of the time, we're able to get those nuggets of information, put the puzzle together, and get an arrest. And
Yeah, we put the puzzle together with nuggets. Puzzle piece nuggets, and they all fit. And we look at the picture on the box, and then we make that picture happen with nuggets. It's like a puzzle.
start the prosecution. You know, once we arrest somebody, then we've got to continue to build the case. We've got to make sure that all that...
What do you think this guy's Starbucks order is? Something creamy. Or do you think he's like more of a Panera? He loves their bagels.
evidence that was taken is stored properly, is tagged properly. We've got to make sure that all of our I's are dotted and all of our T's are crossed. The investigation doesn't end at an arrest.
We've got to make sure all of our I's are on the investigation and dotted.
The investigation will continue all the way until either we get a guilty plea in this case or somebody goes to trial and is found guilty. So still a lot of work to be done.
There's not going to be any trial if there's no body and no arrest. All you've got is detainees, and you've detained one Range Rover for questions. And that's nothing. They'll all be released probably before tomorrow morning.
Absolutely, and I feel like this next question kind of piggybacking the one you just answered there. And this one is from Jessica saying, at what point are they treating this as a homicide?
We're going to need to see a body pretty soon for us to go to that level. You know, a homicide is taking the life.
Yeah. We're going to charge her with homicide, but we haven't found a body or anything. We haven't found a fingernail, a strand of hair, nothing.
Life of another. So again, once we see some evidence of moving into that definition, that's when we can treat it as a homicide. We still have to be treating it as a missing person or an abduction or kidnapping at this point until we get some proof of life and or unfortunately proof of death.
Well, we need to do a poll on that, don't we? And see how everybody feels.
This is an interesting question that I'm going to pull up here. This one is saying, can Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker data reveal to doctors if she's still living? But we do know, Bobby, that pacemaker did connect from technology there that morning, correct?
That's correct. It did disconnect, I believe, when she was taken from the residence. So, yeah, I'm not sure how that works with respect to the phone, the wrist phone, or her pacemaker. Maybe there is evidence that we're finding now that they're able to retrieve. Again, a lot of things going on here with a lot of different ways to find people, and this may be one of the ways. I'm not, unfortunately, an expert in that area, and I do not know the answer to that question.
All right, Julian, do we have another question that we want to pull up? All right, we're pulling up another question here. Why weren't there any car tracks to follow up on?
Well, a lot of the terrain out there is very hard packed. It's almost like a cement So it's not overly sandy and doesn't necessarily show up on any tracks on the ground. So it's a very difficult aspect of this particular location. That's the same situation with people's footprints leaving in and around the cacti and other vegetation around the house, is that a lot of times there is nothing to see. Plus, they've had some rain out there today. Again, that was from 2 weeks ago, but yeah, just not a lot of evidence in that regard.
Everyone was panicking when the rain came. They were like, oh, this could wash away footprints. Well, it's been 2 weeks. So, if you don't have the footprints, then that's on you, really. It hasn't rained for 2 weeks, and you're leaving it till the point that it rains to go and get the footprint information. That's not good policing right there.
Hard to be able to take us to a vehicle, to then a residence, to then some people.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we do have one more that I wanted to share here before we continue in the conversation. Okay, so let's pull this one up. And thank you to all our viewers for writing in here your questions. Are there any efforts made to track the person who has emailed TMZ that he knows about the person or persons who are involved in this case? As we've been sharing here, Bobby, TMZ is saying they've been receiving several notes here recently this week.
Yeah, I'm sure they're working on all of that, but I think the other thing that, again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, since last night, I don't think we've seen enough information from that individual to give that person the credibility that they need with respect to the information they have. There's also a reward out there. So the question is, why are you not going for the reward as opposed to the crypto deposit into the account? So I think that individual really needs to speed up the information that they have, throw something out.
Why is anybody wasting time speaking about that individual? Yeah. No, I don't want the 100 grand. Send me 65,000 in as a Bitcoin, because I don't want to be a rat. Come on. You just want a Bitcoin. Obviously, you don't know facts.
There that the authorities can chew on and then figure out if that's credible information. Let's get going. I don't think
the authorities can chew on. They're doing too much chewing. Not enough arrests, right?
The authorities are going to just rely on an email that says, I know something you don't know, and if you deposit into this account, I'm going to give you the information.
Yeah, and I just wanted, for context, to put up that post there from TMZ. Now, transparently, that was from yesterday, but that is what we're referring to here, answering that question. Bobby, I did want to ask you, we do know that several tips have come in, thousands of tips have come in. How does law enforcement work through that? How do they know if a tip is credible? I mean, what is the thought process there? If you've got thousands of tips coming in, how do you work through that? How do you even begin to really investigate what might be credible and what might not?
Well, the authorities have to rely on all that information. They have to triage it to see how credible it is on the front end of the information, and they have to meticulously go after all of those tips to figure out if they are credible and if they're not. It's a painstaking process. If it has to do with videos, they have to go each frame of the video. If it's interviewing people, they have to go interview those people. They then have to try to corroborate the information that they're giving, and is that information going to be helpful to the investigation? Then they have to make sure that that information is given to all the agencies that would need that information. They need to make sure that it's given in real time, quickly, and in a credible fashion, so that the investigation can continue to run its course. Information is great, but it's not very good if we don't get it to the people that we need it to get to, and we have to get it to them in a timely fashion. So all of those tips, all of those individual nuggets of information, all of those interviews have to be conducted, and they have to be conducted in a very quick fashion. So when a lead comes in and it has a little bit of good information, a little bit of credibility, officers and agents have to respond immediately. Whether it's 5 minutes before their shift was ending or 5 minutes after it started, they've got to get out there and get that information, sort it out, chew on it, see if it's good, see if it's going to keep the investigation going, and then move on to that next tip that hopefully might be the piece of the puzzle that gets us over the finish line.
Yeah, and as we've been saying here, we have not gotten a press conference from officials. I imagine, Bobby, that a lot of the information that they are receiving and working through, they are not sharing with the public in order to not jeopardize the investigation here. But how careful do law enforcement agencies need to be at this stage to avoid jeopardizing a potential prosecution?
Absolutely. Excellent question. That's exactly right. We've got to be careful that we do everything by the book, that we treat all of these people who are detained properly with probable cause before arrest. We've got to make sure that we're getting all of our evidence collected. We've got to make sure that we're not screwing it up and getting in our own way. And that can happen. And especially a investigation of this type with this
Yeah,
notoriety, with it being
especially with it
24/7
being
on
a
the
glove
news every
shirt.
day, we're talking about it. We've got to be extra careful. We need to do that in any case, but we need to be extra careful to make sure that we're doing everything possible to not let this get away from us and possibly allow for a non-prosecution or a non-guilty verdict of the person and or persons that we're going to ultimately arrest in this case.
And Bobby, I know we've had you on for a while, but before I let you go here, I do just want to share some of the video that we have been getting in here overnight. I also wanted to share this, that a Range Rover was towed away from a Culver's parking lot in Tucson yesterday evening after it was involved in a traffic stop during a law enforcement operation in relation to this. And I just wanted to ask you, what can you glean from this? What does this mean in terms of the investigation, if anything, to you?
Yeah, again, another tough one.
I think there they were just letting the Range Rover change
Ask you, what can you
while
glean
protecting
from
its
this?
dignity.
What does this mean in terms of the investigation?
See, it's like, yeah, put your swimming trunks on, Range Rover.
If anything, to you?
Yeah, again, another tough one. It's interesting that this happened. They obviously took some photos. They detained an individual inside there for questioning. I'm not sure if that person is still detained. I believe, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, that they did tow that car away. So they must believe that there's some evidentiary reason to take that away, or there's some connection to the case. Look,
Evidentiary molecular reason, bio nano quantum. Next generation bio nano quantum molecular reason. Okay? It's the FBI. Of course it's bio nano quantum molecular evidence.
with the person we had detained the other night, we got a flurry of information, and then ultimately it didn't pan out in
I think it must be this guy's first day.
anything. And that's going to happen. We need to continue to be vigilant, but we also need to get lucky in this case. It's okay for investigators to get lucky and get some pieces of information that are going to help us go along here. So again, the hard work has to continue. If
Hope for the best, right? A bit like Nancy Guthrie's book. How's that going? Any sales? Huh? Oh, not so much, huh? Oh, you'll get there. Yeah. Hey, you wanted to do Christmas at your house this year. Well, I was thinking that we could have it on my yacht. My luxury yacht? Yeah, no. If you didn't want to go to the trouble of washing up, let's have it on the yacht. I'll just call, what type of cuisine? I only ask because it depends. Which chef I call depends on what kind of cuisine you would like at Christmas on the yacht. So how's the book? How's the jewelry? Is the jewelry going well? Oh, that's a shame. But you'll get there. Hang in
some
there.
information or an interview of an individual after detainment is not a part of it, well, that's not a part of it. And we acted properly. We had probable cause to stop that car. We had probable cause to detain and interview that person. If nothing comes of it, nothing comes of it. But that doesn't mean we don't stop working hard. We continue to go out and look.
Oh, Christina, happy Valentine's Day. I'll tell you who's not having a happy Valentine's Day, and that's Nancy Guthrie. Granny, where is Granny today? No box of chocolates, no cards. Nothing. Flowers. Except for the rose bushes. He's probably still got some fucking petals and thorns lodged in his gloves if he didn't leave them at the scene.
For evidence and people who were involved in this case, and let's get Nancy Guthrie home.
Right. And just reading my notes here from Fox News, the driver of the vehicle was detained by law.
Crazy Isabel Perez needs help. With what? Are you trying to send money? It's easy. You just go to buymeacoffee.com/True Crime Metrix, or if you prefer, paypal.me/True Crime Metrix. Links are in the description. Okay, Isabel? El muchos pesos.
Law enforcement for questioning taken away from the scene. Unclear if that person remains in custody as of this morning. Bobby, before I let you go here, anything else that you want to share about this? I know there's so many pieces to this, and we're getting so much information out overnight. Is there anything you think I might have missed?
No, your questions were spot on. Look, there's a lot of hard work.
Christina, can you help Isabel to send money or coffee or, fake coffee, but real money? Yeah, help one of the viewers there.
Going on out there. I'm sure there's a lot of frustration between the Pima County officers who are on the ground and the FBI agents who are on the ground. If there is that risk.
There's a lot of frustration with the Pima Colada Sheriff's Department and the FBI. There's a rift, right? There's a rift. What is this deal with this rift? Fuck. Really? I mean, is it being accentuated because there's nothing to talk about? So they're like, well, maybe we'll talk about the rift. Should we pick up the rift? Yeah, no, let's say there's a rift between the FBI and the Pina Colada County Sheriff's Department. Do we need to call the Pope or what? Who's going to sort this rift? I mean, somebody needs to get in there and fix the rift, right? I mean, rock, paper, scissors. Whoever wins has to do the dishes. No, whoever loses, rock, paper, scissors, has to do the dishes for a month. And then that's the end of the rift. Easy.
Rift between the leadership of those two agencies. There's no place for that in this case. We need to be working hard. State, local, federal partners, we work together all the time. We're all law enforcement. It really doesn't matter who's signing your check at the end.
It doesn't matter who's signing the check, But the FBI or any federal agency love to pretend like they have bigger dicks. Or bigger tits. I mean, it's totally true. It's in every piece of common theater that the nation has seen in their lifetime. Of course they do. They're like, federal. They love to come into a State Department and say your coffee is shit. Speaking of coffee, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/truecrimemetrics.
Of the day, we've got to get out there, work together, bring the tools that each agency has, bring the expertise that each agency has.
Bring the tools that each agency has. Yeah, bring a pen, handcuffs, maybe one of those, magnifying glasses for when we're dusting for prints. What else can we bring? Maybe a few, takeout menus that you could pick up so that we have options. Because we're not going to want pizza every day, are we? So maybe we could do Papa John's on Monday, and then Tuesday, how about, there's this really great sushi just down the road in Arizona. 2 days drive from the ocean. Yeah, no, they fly it in. It's Japanese fish.
Bring the personnel that each agency has and continue to work hard every day and go find Mrs. Guthrie so that we can get some resolution to this case. And for the family, we can't forget.
I wish they'd just all start calling her Granny. It's not Nancy Guthrie anymore. It's not Mrs. Guthrie. It's Granny. She's Granny to the world, and we need her back. Bring Granny home. Bring Grandma home today. I mean, I think I'm going to donate my home as part of the reward. So they'll get $100,000 and my house. Because I need to do something. I need to be involved. I can't sleep. I can't eat. Granny is missing and we don't know where she is.
That the family is the victim in this case, and they've had an incredibly tough 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us this morning to break it all down for us. We truly appreciate it. I'm sure we're going to have you on again as we continue to wait here to see if even more information is going to come out today. Thank you so much.
A pleasure. See you next time.
Yeah, see you next time. When? Not today. Hang on, we had breaking news. There's another Land Rover that's been arrested. No, Range Rover, sorry. So much going on with the breaking news that we don't know if it's a Land Rover or a Range Rover. How long are they allowed to detain a vehicle?
It's 9 a.m. on the East Coast. Welcome back to Fox and Friends Weekend. If you were just joining us this morning, we are monitoring a possible major breakthrough in the Nancy Guthrie case.
And this here, it looks like it's actually a night vision camera here. So the real world, it's actually dark, but with the special FBI lens, we can see agents.
It's overnight law enforcement swarming a Tucson home just 2 miles from the...
Swarming. I said yesterday, he's a fucking beekeeper, this guy, right? He's got the special protective gloves so you don't get stung when you're stealing the honey. He's got that torch in his mouth, which is a very common beekeeping tactic, so that when they're going in, they can see into the hive and make sure that they don't squash the queen. And now this guy's talking about swarms, right? What do you call a group of bees? It's not a herd. It's not a pack. It's a swarm.
Missing 84-year-old's residence.
Law enforcement sources telling Fox News Digital that at least 3 people from that house have been detained, but it's still unknown.
God, I can hear the plastic surgery in that woman's voice, right? She's had her lips done or her tongue shortened or something. I don't know. What do they do? She's just had some work done on her tongue or lips.
What, if any, evidence was found in the home at this hour?
A 4th person was also detained outside a Culver's fast food restaurant not far.
And he's wearing a hood covering his head. Maybe it's the Invisible Man. I saw a great picture of the Invisible Man the other day. I was going to put it on one of our intruder memes, but I just didn't know if enough people would remember it. I don't know. Was anyone alive in 1934? Or 3? I think it was 33. Fucking hell.
From Nancy's home, officials have not yet confirmed if this is connected to the investigation. But an interesting development we are following this morning is that officers towed the man's Range Rover after covering the trunk with a tarp as they appeared to search it. It's unknown at this time if any of all of these 4 individuals are indeed suspects. Former ATF Special Agent in Charge Bernie.
So what's that car worth, huh? A Range Rover like that? It's got to be $100,000, right? Fuck. Jesus Christ. You know what my car cost? €1,000. And it should have been 300. And it basically does the same thing, right? You should have seen me today. It was fucking Steve McQueen out there. Jesus Christ.
Zapor says this represents significant progress towards cracking the case.
The execution of the search warrant, the seizing or examination of the.
They're just letting the Range Rover change and put on his swimming shorts. You know what I was thinking today? I was thinking about the Eagles song, Take It Easy. And I think my entire life, I thought he said Tucson, Arizona. But it's not. It's never been Tucson, Arizona. It's Winslow, as in the Winslow boy. Robert Donut, check it out. So where do I even know the name Tucson? from? Because it doesn't come up very often. I thought I got it from that song. No, I am actually very good at United States geography for some reason. Taken to learning the order of the presidents too. I don't want to be giving Wendy Ailson any chance to show me up. We've got George Washington, and then fuck, what is it? Adams, maybe. I know Chester A. Arthur is the 21st. We saw that in Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Range Rover, there's a lot more happening on the other side of it. You can see momentum, and you can see that they're running things to completion, and that shows progress. They have something here that is developing, and, you know.
And Lincoln, I think is 15 or 16, something around there.
These large overt actions, such as the search warrant and the vehicle, signify that.
All of this comes as we mark a full 2 weeks since Nancy Guthrie was last seen. Let's get straight to Morgan Wright. He is outside of Pima County Sheriff's Office. He's the CEO and founder of the National Center.
Look at those guys sitting either side of her. I mean, those guys have got up, you know, maybe with their wife or girlfriend or kids. They've showered. They've put on a suit. They've gone to work. They've gone into hair and makeup for a little bit of a touch-up or something, right? And then they come in and they sit like this and do what? And that's your fucking job?
For open and unsolved cases, and he is the host of Crime Reconstructed, which is a podcast. Morgan, so great to have you on again. You've been giving us some great reporting throughout this show. All of this, does it point to you that we're coming really close to solving this case?
You know, I was trying to think of the line that Winston Churchill used, but basically we've reached the end of the beginning.
What, we will fight them on the beaches. We will fight them on the beaches. We will never surrender. Yeah, that line? Which line did Winston Churchill use that you're now going to apply to the Granny Guthrie case?
So this case is just starting, right? So a lot of activity up to this point, and then so from this point is when the really hard work is done that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see. It's the evidence collection, it's the evidence analysis.
Whoa, stop. You promised us a Winston Churchill quote, and now you're talking about what?
You know, I was trying to think of the line that Winston Churchill used, but basically we've reached the end of the beginning. So this case is just starting, right? So a lot of activity up to this point, and then so from this point is when the really hard work is done that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see. It's the evidence collection, it's the evidence analysis, it's going through the reports, it's evaluating witness statements, it's creating the really...
Host of Crime Reconstructed, which is a podcast. Morgan, so great to have you on again. You've been giving us some great reporting.
And this guy that's going to come on as a guest right now went to Target and he thought, hey, you know what I want? An entire outfit of beige. You know, that says I'm over 60 and have experience, right? Beige. Does that give me credibility?
Throughout this show, all of this, does it point to you that we're coming really close to solving this case?
You know, I was trying to think of the line that Winston Churchill used, but basically we've reached the end of the beginning. So this case is just starting, right? So a lot of activity up to this point, and then so from this point is when the really hard work is done that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see. It's the evidence collection, it's the evidence analysis, it's going through the reports, it's evaluating witness statements, it's creating additional leads to follow. It's about then the the forensic examination of all digital media. I can tell you right now, between where the Range Rover was seized, between Nancy's house, between the location of the search warrant, we're now going to start looking at the digital footprints. Does anything there match in common? For example, on the Range Rover, one quick way to establish a link to see if this Range Rover is related to the search warrant, does the registration come back to the house where the search warrant was done? Is that the registered owner? So those are things, if we find those things out, we can start establishing some links. But this is the visible part of the case. The invisible part of the case that's going to happen behind the walls here at the sheriff's office, that's going to happen in the district attorney's office, that's going to happen, in other areas, in laboratories. That's what's going on now. We won't see anything from that until they actually get results, and then the results are really going to be, it's going to be a report that's going to lead us then into different paths that we can take, different courses of action.
Morgan, it was interesting because really the only information we've gotten from the Pima County Sheriff's Office was that statement about 8 hours ago, saying that the search law enforcement activity at the home where the 3 individuals were detained was connected to the investigation.
Okay, so the poll is saying most people think, is Granny still with us? Nope. Dead on purpose, as in murdered. That's 48%, and then 43%, a close second, saying nope, dead by accident. And then 9% say nope, dead of old age.
They added that per the request of the FBI, no additional information will be given. What do you make of that? It strikes me as odd that they went out of their way to highlight that the FBI does not want more details out there.
Oh, I hate this cop in the fucking fishing hat. What a dick. You can just tell that, he does this job so he can still feel like a boss to something or somebody, right? And he goes home to a wife that he hates and sits there and puts up with fucking TV and pointless chit-chat.
As we, of course, are waiting for more details.
You've just hit upon a key link that goes back to the Range Rover, because who was the primary agency involved in the seizure of the Range Rover? That was the FBI. The FBI, because you see, Pima County was obviously doing the search warrant. They were the lead agency on that, but what we saw was the FBI taking the lead on the seizure of the Range Rover. So again, it's one of those things, I don't want to confuse causation and correlation, but all of these things are happening contemporaneously. They're happening at the same time. If the FBI has put out that statement, then one of my questions I would ask if we were at a press conference is, what is the relationship between the FBI taking the lead on seizing the Range Rover and the location of the residence, what's connected there? And the other thing it tells me, too, is that there may be something, we used to do this all the time. We didn't want to give out information. We would withhold information like manner of death, cause of death, because it would give away some of our investigative tactics. And so it may be is that there's something in that.
Especially if you haven't found out if they're dead. Yeah, we'd withhold that information. We would say nothing about manner of death, cause of death, because we don't know if they're dead or not.
That's why they covered it up. That is important to this case if we're making that link, that they don't want known because it would give away, basically inside baseball type of information that only the people involved in the
inside baseball type of information. What would that be?
Crime would know. That's one of the plausible explanations.
Who's on first base? What's on second? I mean, what kind of baseball information could there be? I don't know.
You could come up with.
Right. One of the things that we have not heard a lot of speculation about or talk about, certainly not from the sheriff's office, is cell phone data. And I guess there are various reasons for that. But once you have people in custody and you have people identified who are at least subjects of interest, suddenly cell phone data becomes a lot more useful in a situation like that. Explain that.
Well, actually, there's a lot of data that's already available from what's called ad tech, and that's one of the. I've got 2 analysts right now working on that. We're taking in all of the ad tech data, the mobile app data, the pings that mobile apps make, and that entire area, and we're looking to correlate. The other thing then with cell phones, when you're thinking of the signal from the cell phone, now I'm pinging the tower to determine where I am. That's going to be very critical. Now, to do that though, you just can't go and seize those phones and search those without a warrant. So part of the process was, did the search warrant allow for the seizure? And James was talking about it earlier. You know, you can't go, as the saying goes, you can't go looking for an elephant in a bread box. So does the warrant allow them to seize the phones, any electronic media, computers, things like that? But I'm telling you right now, once they have that, even without an arrest, you could still serve a subpoena on any of the carriers and say, I need information about subscriber information, and show me. The FBI cellular survey analysis team is going to take that information, and now you're going to start mapping out a pattern of life based upon where those devices were.
We've talked throughout this show about the psychology, not just
A pattern of life. She went to church and then home, the occasional restaurant, the doctor, and back home.
but these abductors, these people who have we believe might have intruded into this home and taken Nancy Guthrie. But we're also been talking
Allegedly. The Range Rover broke in and took Granny.
about the psychology of all the investigators, the FBI, the local law enforcement, the sheriff's office. What does a breakthrough like this do to the investigation in terms of lifting hopes and getting people sort of, I mean, it's exhausting, 20,000 tips, running everything down, all these details, hitting walls earlier, you know, in week 1 and even into week 2 until this happened. Talk to me about that part of the investigation.
Yeah, that part.
Let me give you a broader stat, and I'll come into this.
Sure.
I don't think a lot of people hear a
Give me a beige broader stat.
lot about line of duty deaths, about how many officers are killed in the line of duty each year. What people don't realize is, on average, there's 3 times as many officers who commit suicide as are killed in the line of duty. And let me tell you, that comes from jobs like this. This comes from delivering the worst kind of news. I had to do that 3 times in 1 week.
Wow, is that right, is it? So, yeah, I guess that would kind of make sense, wouldn't it? But you never hear about that. 3 times as many officers kill themselves as the number of officers that get killed in the line of duty by some rage thug criminal. Yeah, it's not a easy job, is it? I mean, in any way. Anyway, what a horrible job they have to do. Maybe they should be allowed to abuse powers sometimes, just to kind of, you know, blow off steam, you know. Smash a crackhead's face on the curb or whatever it is, you know, just blow off steam, right? Because they've got a tough job. Yeah. I'm all for more brutality to save the police from the tough job that they do. I mean, maybe if we let them smash in a couple more crackhead skulls, not so many would have to pay the ultimate price, suicide, right?
At the end of that week, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. When you knock on the door and have to give a family the worst news they've ever had in their life, with stuff like this, yeah, does it give you hope? Realistically, yes, but realistically, it's like, man, we still need to find Nancy. We still need to bring her home.
Realistically, it's like, yes. But realistically, it's like, listen, we don't know where Granny is.
Wherever she is, whatever condition she's in. And so that's still the frustrating part. And I'll tell you, when you get home and you realize when you've seen enough death to last you 1,000 lifetimes, it's like when you go home, it's like James was saying earlier.
When you've seen enough death to last you 1,000 lifetimes. What does that even mean? That means nothing.
You don't want to bring this home. You don't want to inflict this on your family. There's a great book out there called Emotional Survival for Law Enforcement. Dr. Kenneth Gilmartin. I give this to everybody. I gave it to my nephew.
Not a plug, yeah? No, I give it. It's great for Christmas gifts, stocking fillers, okay? It's called Love the Cops by Warren Zevon. Yeah. It's called The Werewolves of London by Warren Zevon. Protect the Police.
Who's a police officer in St. Paul. You have to have emotional tools in this day and age to deal with the kind of things that you see. But this is some relief. But at the same time, it's the beginning. It's an adrenaline drop, a lot of fatigue, and then you got to get yourself back up and run another marathon.
Well, and Morgan, it would seem after 2 weeks, obviously these investigators are exhausted, but it does appear, this is the largest law enforcement activity overnight we've seen in 14 days since this all began. So maybe they are getting some adrenaline and morale boost that they may be closer. I just want to go back to, you're talking about the FBI taking the Range Rover in custody. You know, I know it's an informed, speculative guess.
Yeah, maybe they're getting some more adrenaline and morale boost. Really?
But what do you think's in that Range Rover?
I wish I could say I can't, but what I can tell you is the fact that they did seize it means that there's something in there that's vital to an investigative effort.
Yeah. Someone put something in the Range Rover, and it may or may not still be in there. And they did that with their hands.
That warranted, which this is extraordinary. You just don't go seize vehicles every day. You don't say, hey, I'm going to take your vehicle. It had to be something that was of evidentiary value. There's this case called the Carroll Doctrine about how you...
Yeah. Yeah, and hey, breaking news, everybody. Police don't seize vehicles just willy-nilly. They don't just point at you and say, hey, I'm going to seize your vehicle. Unless it's a Prius, and then they have every right.
Can search vehicles without a warrant based on the fact that it's mobile. And so the fact that you've gone beyond that, this is not just search, this is a seizure. And so I'm wondering if somewhere there is...
Which is funny, because Nancy probably did have a seizure, right? She's 84, not too light on the feet. Any strenuous activity could have resulted in a seizure. I mean, that happens with people in their 20s. This woman is 5 times older than that.
Is there a search warrant to allow for the seizure of that vehicle to search it? So I don't know what's in there, but the fact that they were covering it up, you know, you saw that yellow cloth out there like you see the viewers see right there. The fact that they're covering it up, I don't know what was in there, but it was something that was big enough that it required extending it out, 8 feet or 9 feet. You had several people holding that up and lifting it out. If it was a phone, if it was a device, you wouldn't cover it up like that.
Yeah, it was a phone. It was just enormous. It was like a phone, but it was the size of a station wagon, right? It was a station wagon sized phone, which is easier for old people with the buttons. It's called a Reach Easy.
Not sure what that is, but it's something big enough that there's evidentiary value still left in that Range Rover.
So just for clarity, they put it on the flatbed and took it presumably to a FBI forensics processing area.
Yeah.
But
presumably they took it to Quantico, Virginia. Virginia. Or Florida for the private firm.
If there would have been something like DNA or, God forbid, blood or something else.
Something like DNA or semen. Was there any semen in the Range Rover?
Might require more time. Would that have required the flatbed versus, say, if there was just a backpack or some phones in there, or would they have just taken it regardless to process it and then figure out what they have?
Yeah, I think they would have taken it. One of the homicide cases I worked, I got called out in the morning.
Oh, you think they would have taken the stuff they found to evidence and log it in and not just leave it on the side of the road? Okay. Yeah, no, I can see why. I can see why they would do that, yeah.
Windows were broken out, car was parked on a snowy street, lights on, blood spattered on that. We didn't want to mess with doing anything on the street. We put it on a flatbed, took it back into a secured area, did the super glue fuming on it and everything. Some point you've got to get that into an environment to where you can control it and continue the examination. And I will tell you, based on exactly what you said, Griff, we know, at least my belief is based on the blood trail, the fact that it appears that you're going to have at least two people help remove a body and control that. So at some point we're looking for a vehicle, I think, and so any vehicle that meets the threshold to be considered in that case is going to get examined. It's going to get looked for trace evidence, for biologic, for DNA. This thing is going to be gone. By the time this gets done, it will look better than if it had gone through a high-end car wash and detailing.
Wow. Morgan Wright, thank you so much for your help all morning, and we'll be checking back in with you as things warrant.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch.
Yeah, hi Emily. Fuck you. Okay, I think we're gonna cut it off short tonight, guys. Way short. There's just no nano snooze. There's no granny news. There's nothing. They've arrested a Range Rover, and they've brought him in for questioning. You know, how many gloves were in the Range Rover at this stage is anyone's guess, so we would just be speculating. But as it's Valentine's Day, we'll let our good friend and colleague Anne Rayburn play us out. And I don't think we're even going to get copyrighted. Enjoy. Adios.
It's closer to the truth to say you can't get enough. You're gonna have to face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. The lights are on, but you're not home. Your will is not your own. Your heart sweat, your teeth grind. Another kiss and you'll be mine. Oh, you like to think that you're immune to this stuff. Well, yeah. It's closer to the truth to say you can't get enough. You're gonna have to face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love.